Hello, good evening and welcome to NTA Parliamentary News. I am Rina Obase. Top stories. British High Commission gives pass mark to Nigeria's National Assembly.
Nigerian people are incredibly resilient, very entrepreneurial. I remain very optimistic for Nigeria's future.
All Progressives Congress APC retains its majority in the two chambers of the National Assembly.
But then we'll do our best, those of us who have returned, to cooperate with our colleagues so that we'll do a teamwork in the interest of our own country.
Plus, such light beams on women participation in politics and lawmaking. Now to the details of the news. The British High Commission in Nigeria has given a pass mark to the 9th National Assembly. The outgoing High Commission, Catriona Lang, stated this when she visited the presiding officers of the National Assembly. Ignatius Okwo reports.
Catriona Lang has been a regular at the National Assembly. This time, her last as British High Commissioner to Nigeria, it was a farewell visit. The 9th National Assembly worked with the British High Commission on some critical legislative issues, especially the Electoral Act Amendment. With her work done in Nigeria, there was need to present her judgment of the 9th National Assembly before its presiding officers. She was satisfied with the number and quality of bills passed.
I see this as positive and Nigerians should be proud. Your electoral map looks very different from when I arrived in 2019. There have been some tough times. We had COVID. Obviously, insecurity has got much worse since I've been here. But Nigerian people are incredibly resilient, very entrepreneurial. I remain very optimistic for Nigeria's future.
The amendment of the electoral law, I think I receive a lot of pressure from you and of course from. But for the benefit of insight, I think we have done a marvelous job in the amendment to the Electoral Act, and today Nigerians can see the benefit.
She also visited Speaker of the House of Representatives, Femi Gbajabiamila, where she also made some significant observations.
It's a very strong foundation of that. It's been a really good working relationship with Mr. Speaker and his team. We've worked together on a number of very important electoral bills. His own initiative, the foundation he set up to support young legislators.
My hope and my prayer is that whoever succeeds you will carry on in that same trajectory in building and fostering an even more sustainable relationship between our two countries. I really do thank you very much. We will miss you.
Catriona Lang has been the British High Commissioner to Nigeria since 2018. From the National Assembly, Ignatius Okwo, NTA News.
Increased women participation in politics and governance has assumed a global dimension. In recent past, appreciable level of successes in this area had been recorded in Nigeria. In this report, Dayo Ogunsola takes a look at women's participation in lawmaking, particularly at the National Assembly.
Women, an integral part of the society, have over the years been active players in party politics, but not considered in governance.
Since 1996, we have been struggling. Today in Burundi, we have 60-50, 60-40.
An estimated 4.4 million female were reported to have been registered with INEC before the conduct of 2023 general elections. This underscores their commitment to active participation in governance. Notwithstanding this huge figure, the number of women lawmakers at the National Assembly had been dwindling.
Well, this is quite worrisome because right from the day-go, we've been having issues of women participation in politics. We've lamented that the number of women we have is quite low. We've cried for 35% affirmative action, even though that isn't coming at all. And in the little we have, the 2023 election, for me, it's quite, I say it's tsunami. Most of them, the vibrant and the vocal ones, are not going to be coming back to the National Assembly. I really don't want to call their names, but you know. And it's quite worrisome when you have newcomers coming in. So it's like you're starting all over again.
The 10th Assembly, I think, is not going to really be favorable with the few results that we've seen. And unfortunately enough, again, most of those people who lost, they are very vibrant politicians. They are a vocal set of people that we can actually boast of. But legislative arm of government is not actually, giving them all that they required to thrive. But I think it's still part of the issues that will be raising in the 10th Assembly, and we should live with those people at the state level to look towards the direction of women folk.
With the results of the 2023 National Assembly elections trickling in, one awaits to see if the success of the past will be improved upon. In Abuja, Dayo Ogunshola, NTA News.
The Beijing Conference of 1995 was said to have given Nigerian women the impetus to fully participate in politics and the return to democratic rule in 1999. What has been the outcome of this renewed push for active participation, especially in the legislature, which is the fulcrum of democracy? National Assembly correspondent Lami Ali reports on the performance of women in the recent National Assembly.
In the 24 years since the return to democracy, Nigeria's 469-member bicameral legislature has witnessed low women performance in each election cycle. From 1999, the number of women candidates that secure seats to the National Assembly has hovered between 2 to 5%. Attempts to have increased women representation through constitution amendments at the National Assembly and the larger political space failed. Both the Senate and the House of Representatives voted against the bill seeking to create 111 special seats for women in the National Assembly. Bill to grant 35% political party positions and 35% in the cabinet. In the recently concluded National Assembly elections, it was another poor outing for the female folk. From the results declared so far, less than 20 women clinched the seats in both the Senate and the House of Representatives. Among the casualties is the only woman principal officer in the 9th Assembly, who is the Deputy Majority Whip at the House in Kiruka Onyejocha.
Looking at other crimes in Africa, like Rwanda and others, they had it part of their constitution, so it made it easy for them to have that number. The political parties are not bringing them more on the table, and also another reason could be even the women themselves. Some women are afraid of what happens in the political space out there, and so some of them are afraid. And then also the volatility of that space, and then also issues of resources.
Record has, however, been set by some women lawmakers like Khadija Bukar, who has won consecutively for 5 times, and Benilar, who is returning to the House for the 4th time.
In politics, you know, you win some and you lose some all the time. So go in with a clear mind. As long as you're relevant and the people like you, you can sustain yourself in politics, because politics is all about people. Without people, there will be no politics. You need to be around when people need you. You need to be around to assist people, to listen to them, to counsel them, to actually be involved in their lives, not look down on them and, you know, use them only when you need them during the political elections and things like that, but always be there for them.
After her 3rd inauguration in the House of Representatives, she was appointed as a Minister of State for Foreign Affairs. Breaking the glass ceiling may be gradual, and women are not letting up in the spirit of never say never. With the record of Patricia Ete as a former Speaker, women remain hopeful that someday women lawmakers might again occupy the seats of the presiding officers in either the Green or the Red Chamber. Lami Ali, NTA News.
The 2023 National Assembly election results declared by the Independent National Electoral Commission (INEC) for the House of Representatives showed the governing APC returning its majority in the Green Chamber. Let's join National Assembly correspondent Lami Ali again for an outlook of the 10th Assembly.
As indicated on the winners list released by the election umpire, the APC has so far secured 162 seats, followed by the PDP with 102 seats, trailed by the Labour Party, which garnered 34, while NNPP has 18 seats. But beyond the numbers, Let's check some of the likely faces that would form the next assembly to be inaugurated in June this year. The two presiding officers in the Green Chamber, Femi Gbajabiamila and Ahmed Idriswasi, and other leaders like the Deputy House Leader Peter Patterson, won in their constituencies. For the minority leadership, it was an upset. The minority leader, Ndudi Lumelu, Minority Whip Gideon Gweni, and his deputy, Shegun Adekoya, all lost out in the polls. The deputy minority leader, Tobi Okechukwu, earlier lost out in the party primaries.
Institutional memory is very important, and we are very much aware that experience is not gotten in the market. But then we'll do our best, those of us who have returned, to cooperate with our colleagues so that we'll do a teamwork in the interest of our own country.
In another turn of events, some House members got elevated, among whom is the House Chief Whip, Mohammed Tahir Mungunu, as they moved to the Senate. Two other House members, Sha'aban Sharada and Mohammed Bago, are trying out their luck for the governorship positions in Kano and Niger states. The House will welcome many new faces, as about 2/3 of the members will step into the Green Chamber for the first time as lawmakers. Among them is the son of the Kaduna State Governor, Mohammed Bello El-Rufai. From the National Assembly, Lami Ali, NTA News.
Earlier, NTA Parliament had an interview with a public analyst, Mr. Jide Ojo. Welcome, Mr. Jide, on our news this evening. I have a question for you. The National Assembly election have come and gone, but the outcome clearly showed that there was high turnover in the National Assembly. What does this say about our polity, and what is responsible for this drift?
There are multiple reasons why there is high turnover. One of them is also non-performance. People will say, okay, he's been there for 3 terms, 2 terms. What has been his impact? He never moved any motion. No resolution of his has gotten passed. No bill has come from him. And the representation aspect, they are not also seeing his or her impact. So people will say, for these reasons, there's no point voting the person again. So there are these multiple reasons we need to factor. But I agree, it will impact on quality of legislation, quality of the National Assembly, because when you have new set of people every 4 years, capacity is lost. Because many organizations give capacity building training to these senators and House of Reps members. I've been involved in this for Conrad Adenauer Foundation that has primarily supported the building of capacity of National Assembly members and the State Assembly members likewise. Even National Institute for Legislative and Democratic Studies, I've also worked for them as consultant to build capacity of these people. So every 4 years you train these people in legislation, in legal drafting, how to sponsor a bill and all of that. They have this knowledge, but because they are not coming back, that institutional memory is lost. Although some of them come back as consultants to the National Assembly in one way or the other. But again, you cannot compare that to US, where you have somebody. Joe Biden was in the Senate of the US for 34 years. For 34 years. So, and he moved on from there to become vice president for 8 years under Barack Obama before he now became the president of the US. So, there are multiple reasons. There are strong points and weak points against this, but it's a phenomenon we have to live with for some time to come, until such a time that we are able to go beyond these rotational stuffs at the state level. And of course, when performance is also, we have better performance by the National Assembly members themselves.
Another question, Mr. Jide. The results of the poll saw a drastic reduction in the number of women at both chambers. Given the experience of women during the constitution alteration last year, what impact will this have on them and the nation as a whole?
The women have been added states in terms of representation in the National Assembly or in the Legislative Assembly, even in the executive arm. Thus far, we have never had a elected female governor. And Kenya just elected 6 in the 2022 general elections of Kenya. 6 female governors. I'm not talking of deputy. 6 female governors. So Nigeria is lagging behind. We are the lowest rung of the ladder. And the only way out, as I've advocated on many platforms, is for us to have affirmative action. If there is no affirmative action written in the constitution to reserve seats for women, to say that, look, 1/3 of the seat will be reserved for women. So out of every senatorial, there are 3 senators coming from every state, even if it has to be done on a rotational basis. So if it's Abia North, this time around, in 2027, it will be turned on Abia South to produce a female representative. So we have that kind of affirmative action that 1/3 of our National Assembly will be populated by women. That conscious effort must be written into our constitution. Because now we have gender policy. We've had national gender policy since 2006. It has been reviewed in 2022, but it's observed in breach. The gender policy says you should have 35% female representation. But not even Buhari administration has been able to fulfill that. We have 43 cabinet ministers, 6 or 7 of them being female. So if you do the math, it's not even up to 15%. So if the president in appointing, and this is something that could have been easily done, if you say, look, I want at least 12 or 15 women to be in my 43-member cabinet, it's not too much. And that is the consciousness we are talking about. You will not be offending any of the laws if you put your feet down as president to say, I want 15 members. If I'm going to appoint 36, assuming you are appointing 36, you can insist that 12 will have to be female, and then 24 be male. That is fair enough. But situations where you just sprinkle, and then at the end of the day, the majority of the people, female representation that you get in the cabinet are even junior ministers. We know that in the ministry, there is a junior, there is a senior minister.
Thank you, Mr. Jide, for your insight on the issue. We hope to have you some other time. Still to come, Kogi State House of Assembly in focus after this break. Please stay.
NTA Parliament is a dedicated 24-hour channel that broadcasts activities of the Nigerian Senate, Federal House of Representatives, and all the 36 state houses of assembly. NTA Parliament, strengthening Nigeria's democracy.
Welcome back to the news. The Independent National Electoral Commission, INEC, is appealing to political parties and their candidates to caution their agents and supporters to consider the March 8, 2023 governorship and state houses of assembly elections as a contest and not war. INEC Chairman Professor Mahmood Yakubu and the National Security Advisor, retired Major General Babagana Mungono, gave the advice at an interagency consultative committee on election security in Abuja. Timothy Yusuf reports.
Numerous strategic engagements are already ongoing by political parties, their candidates and other concerned civil society organizations ahead of the March 18 governorship and state houses of assembly election.
We wish to call on security agencies to protect the lives of citizens as they come out for these elections and ensure that there is no intimidation of citizens in this election.
INEC and all critical election security stakeholders at this meeting are assuring that no stone will be left unturned in ensuring that the will of the people is not subverted.
The state elections will involve 1,021 constituencies, 28 governorship and 993 state assembly seats. There will also be more candidates involved and more collation centers to protect. These are also local elections involving keen contests. It is therefore important for parties and candidates to speak to their agents and supporters to see the election as a contest and not war.
What we do not want to happen is for anybody to preempt and to take the law into his or her own hands. I want to be very, very clear on this. We're going to give the maximum support to all entities involved in this process.
The governorship elections will hold in 28 states except in Anambra, Bayelsa, Edo, Ekiti, Imo, Kogi, Ondo, and Osun, where the state elections were conducted off-cycle. Timothy Yusuf, NTA News.
Away from that, let's go to Kogi State on state legislative matters. Know your state assembly, and our focus today is Kogi State House of Assembly. Since its inception in 1992, 13 speakers of the assembly with record-making legislations have promoted good governance for the people of the state.
Kogi State House of Assembly was inaugurated on 17th of February 1992 and had her first sitting pursuant to the proclamation by the first executive governor of Kogi State, late Prince Abakar Audu. The fourth assembly was inaugurated in June 2007 and ended in 2011 during the second tenure of Governor Ibrahim Idris with Clarence Olafemi as speaker. The fifth assembly, which started from June 2011, ended in May 2015 with Abdullahi Bello. Momo Lawal took over on November 2012 to July 2016. More so, the fifth assembly was inaugurated during the People's Democratic Party-led administration of former Governor Idris Wada and had Momo Jimo Lawal as first speaker before he resigned to pave way for Umar Ahmed Imam in July 2016 to August 2017. Matthew Kolawole, the current speaker, stepped in on August 2017 to date. This became the first time in office of the All Progressive Congress-led administration of Governor Yahya Bello.
The House has been very peaceful, so the members have been very cooperative. We have very good synergy between us and the government. We have very robust understanding with the judiciary also, so it has been good for us. One of the major things we have achieved is that there's no bill we pass, either private member bill or executive bill, that has not been assented to. So that's why we're able to achieve this much.
Since inception, record has it that only 2 women have served as members in Kogi State House of Assembly. According to INEC timetable for 2023 general election, Kogi State House of Assembly election has 231 candidates contesting in various parties. 206 are male, while 25 are female candidates.
So I just pray those people who will be coming behind us will be able to be tolerant. Because what brought us this far is because we are tolerant. We've been so accommodating. We understand with the government. There are situations where even members need to fight. I'll beg them, please let's understand with the government, and they will understand. And so that's how we have had very, very peaceful house. And I'm sure the executive arm of government, they are proud of us.
The gender parity and youth participation in Kogi Assembly have been poor. Hopefully, the March Assembly election will pave way for more female legislators. Ajibola Christopher, NTA News.
Kogi State House of Assembly has held a valedictory session in honor of one of its members, late Musa Jimo Omiota, who represented Yagba East State constituency. Ajibola Christopher reports that this solemn event featured tributes from members on the life and time of late Jimo.
At the valedictory session, a minute silence was first observed for late Jimo Musa Omiota, led by the Speaker, Matthew Kolawole. Members, in their separate contributions, eulogized the late Jimo Musa Omiota, whom they described as a gentleman who contributed to the growth of his constituency and the state, urging those he left behind to emulate his exemplary leadership qualities.
My personal interaction with late Musa Jimoh Omiata was more of a brother and a friend. Even though we met at the level of legislative activities.
Honorable Jimoh Omiata was a cheerful giver whose generosity and leadership quality are rare to find.
Anytime you want to do anything, he will stand like a father for us. This state should try all possible best to make sure that the family never suffer anything.
We have lost a colleague who is straightforward. We have lost a colleague who is sincere. Even though death don't tell you when it will come.
Speaker Matthew Kolawole, who commiserated with members, staff and families of the deceased, said late Jimoh Musa Omiata was a man dedicated to duty, raising motions and bills for government's interest and that of his immediate constituency. He prayed for the repose of his soul.
He served God Almighty and immensely benefited to humanity. He was able to touch and inspire many lives, not only in making them better persons, but in giving them reasonable reasons for their existence.
Late Jimoh Musa Omiata was a two-time representative of Yagba East constituency at the Kogi State House of Assembly. He died after a brief illness at the age of 57. Ajibola Christopher, NTA News.
And with that report, we wrap up our NTA Parliamentary News this evening. From the entire production crew, we say have a good night's rest. Thanks for being part of it. I am Rina Abase.